Hey guys, Todd at 306 Foxbody. Here's what I've been up to. And anybody that knows me can unfortunately say that my motto is probably, if it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would ever get done. You know, back in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s, early 2000s, we had our drag racing back home in Esterhazy. There I was working on my car the night before. In some cases I had a bare block sitting in front of my car a week before the races. I remember I was in Saskatoon with my 86 at the racetrack, and something happened to the car. It just started overheating. It didn't quite sound right, but it was overheating. So loaded back up on the trailer. And the Esterhazy drag races were coming up. So I get the car home. Sunday night, I rip the motor out of the car, get it down to the bare block. I'm working at a shift work job, so I had to work Monday, Tuesday day shift, so 12-hour shifts, and then Wednesday, Thursday night shifts, 12-hour night shifts from like 7 at night till 7 in the morning. And of course I was much younger then. And back then I wasn't taking a part off the car and buffing it up and sandblasting and painting it. The races were coming up in 1 week from the Sunday I started. So it was go time. And I'm not exactly like an Indianapolis pit crew, but back then I could work faster, but if it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would ever get done. So I remember it was on a Wednesday, on my 24 hours off between day shift and night shift. I threw the block into my car, my other car. I drove to Yorkton, 50 miles away, took it to the local machine shop. They couldn't find anything wrong with the block, but they said the cam bearings had walked out. Well, I knew that. They walked out of the journal. And when they put new cam bearings in, they said they didn't want to crush in quite as good as they should. It wasn't quite tight enough. So they asked me what I want to do. Like they couldn't find anything wrong with the block at the time. So they said we could green Loctite them in, you know, if you want to take a chance. I said, yeah, do it, because races are in just a few days. So the guys were really accommodating. They put the green Loctite on, put the cam bearings in. So it would have been, I would have got back to Esterhazy. So like I said, 55 miles away. I would have probably started on the engine the next morning after I got home from work. I probably didn't sleep, or very little. So anyways, Wednesday night, Thursday night, I worked my shift work. And by Friday night, I had friends in the car. We were cruising up Main Street in Esterhazy, trying the car out. It seemed to work good. So then I had Saturday, and then Sunday was the races. Like this thing behind me, it's been up on jack stands for a year and a half. And I went all last summer without driving it. And I said, that's not going to happen again. So here we are. It's Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. It's 7:30 in the evening. I'm going to, I'll tell you a little bit what I'm doing with the 95. So here's my goal. In Yorkton on July 21st, so Friday the 21st, it's our cruise night. So all the local cars from surrounding area and within the city, everybody's going to meet at the Staples parking lot, probably from between 5 and 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and then it's cruising. And like any city that has a cruise night, it's really good and it's a lot of fun. And I consider it, for me, it's like one of the highlights of the year. And 2 years ago when I got this car, 4 days before, I got it 4 days before the cruise night. And I still had my 96 S351. So the cars are virtually identical. This one has a different hood. It's got like a heat extractor style hood. It's got a different rear spoiler, Recaro seats. But at a glance, it's a white Celine Mustang with white wheels. And it was kind of fun because I cruised in behind a buddy and his wife. They were on a motorcycle. And I parked with my friends and other people I knew. And the fun thing was nobody knew I had a different car. So we got to get this in there. I got to put it on the K member. Here's what I did. Sandblasted the control arms, painted them kind of a semi-flat or a semi-flat black. I tried to put overspray on the K member, kind of like how the factory would have done it. I wanted to brighten it up a little bit. So that's what I did there. And going over to I'll grab the other cylinder head here. So I made myself a makeshift sandblasting cabinet. I made myself one like this, 20-some years ago, 25 years ago. I got another Makita grinder. The other one, I use it for so many years I wore it out. I'm definitely no master head porter. I'm not like David Vizard. I wish I knew the stuff that he already forgot about, because that man is amazing. If you're ever looking at head porting techniques and how to make power, man, I'd love to be next door neighbors with that gentleman. So if you ever watch his videos, they're pretty cool. So here we are, some AFR enforcers. The thing I like about them is they've got good hardware and they are a pretty good bang for the buck for the flow numbers. I can't remember what they are offhand. Maybe I'll post them right up here. Here's the flow numbers for the enforcer heads. They're pretty good. But here's what I did. And I know someone's probably going to criticize my head porting because, like I said, I'm not a professional, but I can't finish it off as good as the professionals do, but it is pretty smooth with aluminum. The way the light hits it, it may not look pretty, but actually it's not bad. And I didn't do much on the intake. I just kind of, here I'm going to put my flash on. I didn't do too much to the intake. Like I said, it looks rougher than what it really is, but I kind of teardropped this a little bit. There was a line, kind of a ridge from maybe the valve seat area or whatever. Anyways, that ridge was all the way around. I took that out. Around here, I took the ridge out, just like, the guys that talk about that stuff on the computer or on YouTube. I gasket matched to a Felpro, what do we got? I'm using Felpro 1250s. They seem to fit the Cobra intake. And incidentally, I had a previous video, I honestly thought I was actually going to look for another Cobra intake for this car and modify it the same way Celine did. They have that extra platinum volume they added to it. I thought it'd be cool to get one that has been extrude honed. This one was extrude honed. Somebody did it. The finish was, it's not ported. It is definitely 100% extrude honed. Like, one less expense. Just, you don't have to buy an intake. It's all done. I'm lucked out. So somewhere along the way, somebody extrude honed the intake on this car. So anyways, I cleaned this up, or I opened this up a little bit to match the Felpro 1250s. I didn't do too much inside. It's actually not bad. Like I said, these heads flow pretty good. There's our exhaust port. Like I said, honestly, it looks rougher than what it really is. And all I really want to do is I want to take some emery cloth on the short side a little bit. Just, 60 grit or 80 grit. But this is what we got here. There was this big ridge here, right there. I want to take that out. You can see the ridge right here that'll affect your flow, probably, especially at low lift. There's another ridge right there. You can see that ridge right there all the way around. So we got rid of that. So like I said, I didn't do anything too drastic, mostly around the valve guide area, just to, and I kind of favored the outside wall because I think they say that the airflow wants to, it's not going to really go out this way, it's going to go favor more here, so I gave a little extra right in here just to give it a little bit more volume. And yeah, that's, like I said, you can see the ridges. And they say don't take this right down because technically it'll go, especially in the exhaust side, I think. Technically it goes in a little bit. I took most of it out, but that's what I saw in one video. So I left it a little bit just because, just to keep it a nice smooth flow transition. I'm not an expert at this, but I probably ported 5 or 6 sets of heads in my lifetime, and one of them was my favorite of the 289 heads. They were just such a great bang for the buck, and I think I spent 22 hours porting those. And actually, I had one of the heads just flow tested just to see, and my numbers were right up with the magazine article 8/10 the old-fashioned way, old muscle Mustangs and fast Fords article. I did that to my 86 years ago. That just woke the car up totally. So anyways, I got one cylinder head done. I got one left. And I basically have about 13 days to get this thing on the road. But really, realistically, I got to shoot for 10 or 11 days to have the motor back in. Brake hoses have to be done, bleed the brakes, get it off the jack stands. I'm borrowing my buddy Jarrett's cherry picker. And maybe if I buy the boys some pizza and a couple nice cold drinks, they'll help me get this thing into place. So, and one last deviation. These are the long tube headers I had on my 351 Windsor from my 86 before it got the new motor about 5 years ago. I had some 351 swap headers, which are just like the original Celine headers, but I had some brand new ones, had them ceramic coated, but the ports are so small compared to these exhaust ports. These are like a 1.24, let me check, 1.37 by 1.35, wow. And I think so let's say 135 square. So these really nice headers. They got a crazy big weld on the inside. Look at that. I can't put those on. Just over an inch. Like, even if I die grind this out a little bit, that's just not going to happen. Got some ARP exhaust header studs. I like using the header studs because I think on some AFR heads, the studs don't go into, the bolts don't go in too deep. Anyways, I got these BBK swap headers, and the reason these are going to work on this car is, the reason that these headers will work because I'm using a stock Foxbody bell housing with the Tremec 3550 TKO, or it's a 3550 anyways. It's a heavy transmission. So these are still narrower, but I'm going to have lots of room this way. It's not ideal. Hi, Charlie. You helping me out? Awesome. But those headers going to be way better on there than, the only thing I got to worry about is I've got a catalytic H pipe, so I got to modify it. But it's a BBK, and if you had shorty headers, it actually has, it's like in two pieces each side. So the part that would go up to the shorty headers, I just got to modify it for the long tubes. So that's not going to be a problem. Anyways, I guess I got work to do. If it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would ever get done. That's what I've been up to. I'm going to have another long night in here, I think, but I really want to get this car going, and hope everybody's having a great week, great weekend, having a great summer. Stay safe, get lots of cruising in, and wish me luck, guys. I want to be cruising on this thing on July 20th for sure. That's a good day to get it going ahead of time. That way, if I got to do anything, I'll have another day to skip work and get the car fine-tuned. And I also just got some injectors flow tested and cleaned. Thanks to Greg for doing it last minute. Greatly appreciated. But yeah, that's what we're up to. Anyways, guys, we'll catch you later. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.